All right, so for anybody with money on their mind, let me point out a paradox between the golden calf and the monetary system from an economic, a societal, and a theological level. So you have the golden bull, which was the golden calf from the Old Testament. This was connected to gold, the gold standard, going from paper to gold, going from the scrolls to the gold. The Israelites, the gold that they had that went into the forming of the golden calf came from their plundering in Egypt at the time of Passover. This is what they were told to plunder, to take. This was the plunder. So the gold, they weren't in a position to make money there because at that time they were once captive. The only time that they had separation from Egypt were when they were in nearby Goshen while the plagues passed. But the only wealth that they were able to accumulate was what they took in the plunder of that. So now you have the gold standard being ushered over into the time where Moses is on the mountain writing the Ten Commandments. The golden calf is the golden bull. If there was any idea of a gold worship and a gold deification, that would have came from the Egyptian traditions of Hathor, who is the cow goddess, symbolizing fertility and wealth, the nourishing, the milk, the alma mater. So the Israelites took that tradition because they didn't have a God before then. All they had was captivity before then. And you believe in whatever your captive believes if they're over you. This is how the societal paradox of the bull and Wall Street works, which is also representing the monetary system. So now you had Moses come down, and now it became about the bull because seeing that the bull was a symbol of worship at that time, whoever the God was of that particular age was his symbol or her symbol was a bull also with the horns, not just the cow goddess, but a bull, which could possibly even represent the war half of Hathor, the very the bloodthirsty side of her. So you had a stronger form of authoritarianism that took place in the time of Moses, because look at the difference between Moses' leadership and Joshua's leadership. His successor was a bloodthirsty general who was killing everything everywhere, wiping people out, animals out, children out. You read it for yourself in the Old Testament. He got his own book named after him. A lot of bloodshed. His killing was on the King David level. He was killing a lot of people. So you were coming into a bloodthirsty age, bloodthirsty rules of worship. Had Moses sprinkling blood on the people, blood on the books. Had animals being gutted in service, entrails spread all across the bottom of the altar. They were going into a bloodthirsty bull age. So bloodthirst was the voice of the day, because the Taurus is the bull and the bull represents the throat and the throat is the voice. That's the blue chakra, which is why you see the combination of fire and ice being played out in bullfighting. You have the matador waving what? The fiery red chakra of the root, and the root is in I guess direct opposition to the voice, the blue chakra, the throat. So there's always a voice that can speak to the money, and the money is what? Under Amun, the moon. So money is handled mostly at night. It can be made during the day in most cases, but it's handled at night behind four walls, right in front of the street. Wall Street, Mooney. Most people are behind what? Behind walls at night. So this is when money is handled. The evil meaning behind that is that people do dark deeds with the money in secret to destroy others. The righteous side and the darkness behind the handling of money is that when people do good deeds with the money, but they're very hush about it. They don't let anybody know. They don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing when they give their gift. They give it in secret. This is the righteous dark meaning behind the use of money and its connection to nighttime and darkness under the moon, Amun Ra. This is money. So the bull is golden. So you have the golden, you have the golden voice. Pardon me. You have the golden voice. You have the dichotomy of this war between red and blue with the voice. the bull being killed, and then you even have as a zodiacal responsibility that Taurus actually being over wealth and over beauty and over love, and that's under the Venusian Venus energy. So you have that, and you have again that gold that's still, I guess, even literal to a point where it's in the human body, because certain biologies do make mention of this, that there's a percentage of gold in the human body that pertains to the stability in the nutrition of the ligaments. There's a percent, I think it's like 0.002 something milliliters or something like that. But there's a number out there where there is an amount of gold in the human body. And at that time when that calf was destroyed and Moses came down and had the people destroy it, he also, I believe, had people eat or ingest that same very gold. And now you have, thousands of years later, people who are on the richer side of society do invest in edible gold and do partake in edible gold. So you have gold still being eaten. You still have the gold bull. You still have the golden paper. You still have, the idea of the bull again, because the bull is right there on Wall Street, right in front of the building. The bull is not allowed in the building. The bull is outside of the building. But we know anything in front of a building is representing the building behind it. They don't just put random statues in front of buildings. The building will be named after the statue, or vice versa. So you have the bull, and each horn was really supposed to be the management of a full day. It was to balance, each horn was to balance day and night. So the whole 24 hours, which each equals 6, the entire 6 is what money is under, and what the bull or the Taurus or your voice controls. All right. So we're not just making this about signs or anything, but just use the signs for a very practical thing. Money works best according to your conversation. Your conversation will have everything to do with how you handle money. Your conversation is where your wealth is. That's the whole connection, really. So you got wall and you got street. The wall is the corporate side. The street is the entrepreneurial side. If you're not part of a corporation, you represent the street. If you have a job, you represent the wall. Wall and street. Any money that goes into a wall that's not your own four walls, that can be traded on the street. Ask the people who invested in 401ks, etc. in the mid 2000s. The money fluctuations and the loss of money and the bailouts and everything had everything to do with Wall Street, had everything to do with the building in front of the bull, the building behind the bull, the building behind the bull. You heard the term BS. Well, they do recognize the element of it that is considered BS and even agreed upon to be BS when it pertains to Wall Street, and is the idea of how do they come up with the calculations to decide which company gets traded for what. It's a mathematical equation called a complex derivative, and the idea of the complex derivative is to expose or point to a unsolvable calculation that is only based on, I think, margin theory and speculation. So they came up with a complex mathematical formula for speculation, and this is called a complex derivative. But this is what's happening behind the bull when they explain why a lot of money is lost. If they're willing to tell you anything but, oh, the markets fluctuate. If they ever get into the why, complex derivative is what they're going to come to the bottom of the well to find or to tell you. That's the BS, and is literally the excrement of the bull, because a lot of people lost their money. Whatever they invested in, it became what? Right. BS. Exactly. So that's what ended up happening with the complex derivative, and these things can still take place today. So stay aware, stay alert, and when it comes to your wealth, how rich you want to be, it's connected to your voice. Your voice stands guard over your wealth. Just like as a bull in front of Wall Street, you have a voice that proceeds and precedes your wealth.